Welcome to Work Reborn, live from Barcelona, brought to you by Lenovo. Work Reborn is a research series surveying over 600 senior IT leaders worldwide to uncover the key to creating a productive digital workplace. Last report, we talked about using AI to work smarter and stay safer. Now we're moving from AI readiness to AI reality, where technology and human connection are reshaping how we work and thrive in this new era of work, or as we like to call it, Work Reborn. Let's get started. Hey Joanna, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
It's on day 3 for us here at the show in Barcelona. Have you done anything fun while you've been here?
Not so far, but I've got some extra time at the end of the conference to go and explore the Barcelona a bit, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's exciting. So, Joanna, can you introduce yourself a bit for our listeners, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Joanna Tiffin, and I work for a not-for-profit in London called WIG. I'm the Director of Corporate Services there, so I oversee the IT department as well as some other areas of the organisation. And our purpose there is cross-sector collaboration. So we work with government departments and also large organisations from across multiple sectors and kind of bring them together to try and work on UK prosperity. So realising that people need to work together to make real effective change. So it's quite an exciting organisation.
That is exciting. I feel like that type of environment definitely has a team feel to it, culture-wise as well. And the reason why I bring that up is one of the things that Lenovo is doing currently is we are a big partner for FIFA. And, at first glance, it might be like, well, how does that align? Like, what the heck does FIFA and IT have to do with each other? But I really feel like the sport of football shows a lot of parallels in life and business. And one of those things is leading a team and trying to keep up with changes and the constant pressure to do well, both internally in the team and, from pressure outside of the team. And I think what makes a great team personally is obviously many things, but having a great coach is really key. And, the best coaches, they just don't wait for the scoreboard to change. They really shape it by preparing their teams to perform under pressure.
Absolutely.
And I think performing under pressure is definitely the feel and the sentiment right now in IT generally. Would you agree?
Absolutely. A very rapidly evolving landscape, which is difficult to keep up with. As soon as you kind of feel like you've caught up with where you need to be and you're on the right track, suddenly the floor shifts and something new changes, and all of a sudden you're on the back foot again, trying to kind of, I guess, match the score.
Yes.
Suddenly you kind of look at the scoreboard, you're 10 points down, and you've got to kind of
and not only is is the score going up and down, the way they rank our score right now has differed for us in this landscape. So as an IT leader, guiding your organization through this transformation of AI, how do you balance the strategy and empowerment so your team can perform at its peak regardless of the changes?
Yeah, so I think, and something that's been showcased really well here at the conference is that you can have the best technology, the best IT strategy. You can have some fantastic words written down on your strategy around how you're going to, adopt AI and embed it through the organization. But actually key to that is getting the people on board and considering what that means for your workforce. And, going back to your comment about having good coaches, I think you can take a lot of really good things from sports coaches. As a very keen football supporter, I'll refer back to Jurgen Klopp as a Liverpool fan. And I think, what those coaches do really well is they can have, and in sport, technology is massive now in terms of the analytics. So they can really understand the capabilities and skills that their team have. And I think we need to do that as IT leaders as well. So, and it's not just about knowing the capabilities and skills of your IT department, but also the wider organization, right? So being able to have a kind of customized adoption for each different team, people at different levels of digital literacy is so key to that. So matching when you're going through your IT strategy, matching that to where people are in their own journey, being able to take them along is really a key part to that adoption. So one of the ways we're trying to do that is by looking at people who maybe already feel like they're on that journey themselves. They're quite exploratory in their own sort of personal lives in terms of using AI, and bringing them on as champions and almost trying to affect that change from the bottom up. Because I think often as great as the coach can be at bringing the team together, often it's those peers and the colleagues that will kind of rally each other and get them to progress more quickly. So we're using those champions to really kind of figure out how that tool is helping them, getting them to help us with the adoption of their colleagues. So that could be in kind of troubleshooting and testing and those sorts of things, but then also onboarding new people into it who are maybe a little bit more nervous about taking on new skills, because I think it's a massive step change for some people, right? We have some people who've been working in the organization for 10, 15 years. They're used to a certain way of doing things, and they're kind of unlearning and relearning a completely different way. And that brings out so many different emotions. And I guess as an IT leader, it's becoming more and more important for us to understand that and be empathetic to, yes, it's obvious that this thing is transformational and it's going to create a much better work environment. It's obvious to us, we can see it, but it's not obvious to everybody where, there's actually a good talk I went to yesterday about how change kind of pulls the rug out from underneath people.
Yes.
And that we have to help them find the floor again, where they're going to put their feet. And that's a really key thing. So not just pointing out the factual things of this is going to change the way we work, it's amazing, believe in it, just do it. We actually have to kind of understand where they are and take them with us on that journey. And that's, I think, what we can learn from coaches, especially in football.
That's so well said. And I think you made a great point, because I think we're learning with AI is that it really is a long game, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just like a quick fix that's going to magically, the excitement of the woo, like we're going to use it, I feel like is starting to die down a little bit. And it's like, no, like this really is a long game. We're going to have to go through many rounds of this and really understand like how we implement it. So, in your experience currently, like where in your organization are you currently at in your digital transformation journey, and what, go to a room for improvement, and on the flip side of that, what are your goals to continue that journey in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I think we're probably at different stages depending on the different teams that we're working with. I think so I've just recently joined the organization, well, not recently, kind of 18 months into joining this organization. And the real focus for me for the first 12 months was kind of setting those foundations really well and making sure people were comfortable with where we are, making sure that, we had the kind of hardware and infrastructure to actually support different kind of innovative solutions that we might go on.
Right.
Kind of inherited a new CRM project as I came in. So making sure that was embedded before we then started layering on top of that different kind of, agentic AI and that sort of thing to
Just
kind of help with
like
productivity.
lay the pitch as an example.
And exactly that,
Yeah.
and it's, you'll see, the amount of time, if you just go back to football, the amount of time and care that goes into a football pitch, that playing surface is so important for a football team, and you can see it. So, you could take, Alexander or Isaac, take those players and put them on a kind of conference league pitch that's full of holes and muddy patches, and they would not be able to play as well as they do in Anfield, where, you've literally got people there combing the grass to make sure that it's, well maintained. So that's where we focus to start with, is kind of getting those foundations in place. And now what we're doing is just kind of small pilots within different teams, not kind of doing a widespread, right, everybody gets Copilot, everybody gets, everybody gets a chat GPT, everybody kind of, every department kind of looks at this new AI bot and things like that. So we're just kind of doing little pilots within different teams relative to their kind of specialities. So for instance, some of the administrative teams, we just looked at simple things like adding in Teams Premium, seeing how that helps them be more efficient in taking minutes and actions and things for our executive team, and then looking at AI agents within kind of native systems that we've got presently. So things like having Copilot in Sales Professional, so we use Microsoft as our CRM. So just kind of adding that in and seeing how that can help our sales team be more efficient, add value to customers through kind of actually being able to be present during the call. So rather than sat there kind of scribbling down notes, they can kind of let that happen in the background and really be present with our members and add value to that conversation, but also ensuring that all of the things they talk about are captured and the follow-up is done. So it really increased that member value. And then the next stage for us is looking at kind of slightly more complicated things of how we can review our processes and maybe kind of add in AI agents to kind of take away some of that administrative load and really free up people. So a lot of our business is really reliant on people and relationships. So the more we can, assign AI agents to some of that boring administrative time-consuming
Right.
stuff and free up our frontline employees to really spend time with our members, adding the value to that. It's the best thing for us, really. And
Well, I mean, especially in your cause, like the amount of time that's needed in a nonprofit to build relationships and actually do the people part of the work can be dampened by the admin and all of that, right? So it would be nice if there was a way to just kind of like have that be optimized for you. But it sounds like you're really leading the change at your company.
yeah, I think it's exciting and terrifying at the same time,
Right,
right?
right.
Especially in a not-for-profit. So the margin for error is slightly smaller because we're using like public money,
Right.
charitable funds. So you want to
Right.
make the right decision and reduce the amount of waste spent on IT. But ultimately, the aim is really focusing on both our employee and our member experience and enhancing that through technology. And like you say, the more we can remove wasted time
Mhm.
and optimize what we're doing so that we're really delivering value is all the better. But and people being able to enjoy their jobs. Nobody really likes, well, nobody, there's a small percentage of people like the
Yeah.
admin, right? There's a
Yeah.
real small amount of people that really like sitting there doing data entry. But in the main, that kind of people like the exciting stuff that we
Right.
do. So
Just like we're sitting here talking to each other.
absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think to like kind of round out the conversation at the end of the day, in the FIFA analogy that we've had, you want your players to play on the field and you want the fans to celebrate and grow the community around that. And
Absolutely.
everything around it is just supports in order to make that happen. So I hope at your organization you help take them to the Digital Transformation World Cup
Yes.
of success, whatever that is for you.
Absolutely.
And then whatever team you root for wins.
Yeah.
And the football side.
Yeah,
So thank you so
absolutely.
much for coming by, Joanna. I really appreciated your
Thank you.
your insights and your examples in the nonprofit sector of things. And for anybody that's interested in learning more about Work Reborn, we do have a link in the description below for this episode. You can click and download the report and learn more about how other leaders, over 600 senior IT leaders, what they've had to say about kind of the state of the world and AI. And what they're doing to consider moving forward and bringing new life to their modern workplace. And if you're watching us on YouTube, there will be a QR code that you can scan somewhere over here to grab a copy of that report as well. And that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Work Reborn, powered by Lenovo. Lenovo is turning readiness into reality, empowering people, technology, and businesses to move forward together. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Apple or Spotify to continue the conversation on how we're bringing new life to the modern workplace. Thanks for watching.
Lenovo.